What's going on, guys? Ballhub back with another video, and yeah, it's been a minute. I haven't been uploading videos in a while. I had a lot of stuff going on, but I'm back. I'm back, and I'm ready to talk some more basketball for you guys. Um, so yeah, without further ado, let's get right into it. Today, like a lot of people, one really like a trend that's going around the league every year. People try to name their underrated players or who's overachieving and people are not noticing. Like like every team has one player who has stepped up. Some teams have players who are stepping up and people are not even paying attention. So today I'm gonna give you my top five underrated players. It was very hard for me to pick, man. I had like a couple honorable mentions. I had at least three honorable mentions, I'm pretty sure. And I mean, I would have had more. I don't want to make this video too long, but yeah, it was very very tough for me to pick underrated players. I had to pick five. So hopefully you guys don't take offense to any of these. This is just my personal opinion. Leave me in a list of underrated players in the comments if you disagree. Maybe you can change my mind, but yeah, this is all my personal opinion. Also, these are in no particular order. I have five underrated players. I couldn't necessarily put one over the other because, like I said, it was so hard. But I'm just gonna name you my top five in no particular order. Then I'm gonna name you three more who are honorable mentions. So first, I'm gonna actually start off with the honorable mentions, and I have Domantas Sabonis for the honorable mentions, and uh, Pacers fans, I know you guys probably think he's top five underrated players, but you know the list is crazy. You'll see my reasoning behind it. But Domantas is he's only 22 years old, so he's very very young, and he's also doing really well for how much attention he gets. He comes off the bench and he averages 14, 10, and 3 assists. And I mean, those might not be eye popping stats, but his impact on the floor is very very profound. He's a very good offensive player, but the reason I think that the Pacers don't start him is because uh, he's a liability on the defensive end. But Miles Turner is a very good defensive player. He used to be like top two in blocks once upon a time, which is funny because he's still young for me to say that once upon a time. But he's a very good defensive player compared to Sabonis. Which is why I feel like Sabonis comes off the bench. He wasn't running for. I think he might have been running for six man of the year. He's cooled down a bit in the beginning of the season. I saw him drop 30 against the Knicks like first like couple games. It was unbelievable. Coming off the bench, I think. So yeah. Uh, so next player, I have Drew Holiday from the Pelicans, and he's actually doing very well as well. He has 21 points per game. 21 points per game. Let's see the rebounding. 21. Drew Holiday stats. So he's giving you 21 points per game, 9 assists, which is actually very, very good for him. I didn't know he was that good of a passer. Yeah, this is actually a career high for him in assists. Yeah, I didn't know he was such a good passer. In his rookie season, he averaged 4 assists. So he's picked up his playmaking ability, and he's averaging 4 rebounds, which is respectable. But the one thing that I want to talk about him, why he's so underrated for me, is his defense. The fact that he locked up Damian Lillard in that playoff series and the Blazers got swept is something I can't overlook at all. Especially when Damian Lillard and CJ McCollum are like top five backcourts. I'm not gonna put him top. Like you have Stephen Clay, James Harden, and Chris Paul. I guess they could be three, because of how bad John Wall and Bradley Beal are playing. They're not playing bad, but they're not playing as well as I expected them to, or as well as a lot of people expected them to. So yeah, he and Rondo locked down a top three backcourt in the league. Sent them packing. Of course, Anthony Davis helped on the offensive end, but his defense was very good, and he also averaged 26 points. So Yeah, he was doing really well in the playoffs, and he's actually averaging a career high in points right now. So yeah, he's having a really good season for me. So that's why he's it sucks that he wasn't in my top five, but he's still doing really well. My last honorable mention, who broke my heart. I was about to put him in the top five, but I mean that top five is really competitive. But a lot of people might be mad at this, mad at me for this. And he's gonna be an All Star this year. He's improved every year of his career, and that's Tobias Harris. Tobias Harris is, if he doesn't, if he's not an All Star this year, something is wrong, or he's probably just gonna take a huge dip. But I'm confident he's gonna be an All Star this year. He's giving you 21, 8, and 2, similar numbers to Drew Holiday, but him leading that Clippers team to where they're at. Right now they're in the playoffs. I'm pretty sure, and they're doing really well. They were the number one seed for a short amount of time. So yeah, he's consistently been their best player. And yeah, there's not really much to say about him except for the fact that he's playing really well this season. Like I said, he's improved every year of his career, which is incredible. Uh, so yeah, next we're gonna actually go into the top five list, and we're gonna move on to Tobias Harris's teammate, Montrezl Harrell. I love Montrezl Harrell, man. I mean, his energy, his every like he probably averages like 10 points a game. I'm gonna have to fact check that, but I would guess he doesn't average more than 11. If he does, I'd be kind of surprised. But the reason I picked him is not obviously not because of his scoring, but because of his impact. Yeah, let me see what he averages. Oh wow, he averages 15. Oh, okay. He averaged 11 last year. That's what I was getting at. But he's averaging 15 points a game, which is a career high. I didn't know he had it like that. 15 points a game, seven rebounds, and 2 assists. He plays the center position. He's a 6'8" center, and yeah, his rebounding numbers might not be eye popping. He's only averaging 7 rebounds for a center, but his like the way he gets his like rebounds is like he hustles for them. He demoralizes the defense with his hustle. And on the defensive end of the floor, don't even get me started with that because he's such a good defender, help defender. He's really good for them. I love their team, man. I just wish Avery Bradley was playing a little bit better. He's not even like last time I checked, he's not even top 50 in scoring, which is kind of disappointing. So yeah, I just wish he played a little bit better. Okay, moving on to the fourth or the second, sorry, the second top five player, which is gonna be Mike Conley. Mike Conley has fallen off a lot of people's list for top 10 point guards, but to me, I still believe he's top 10. I think that he's either number 10 or number 9. I don't believe he's anywhere higher than that though. Uh, the reason I say last year I didn't believe he was a top 10 point guard because of course he was injured. Goran Dragic took that spot, and it's sad for me to drop him out this year, and put Mike Conley back in because I am a Heat fan, but I have to acknowledge success when it's shown. And Goran Dragic has missed half the season so far. Mike Conley has been playing really well. He's averaging about 22 points a game last time I checked. He's playing incredibly well for that team. Again, like the Clippers, they were up there. They were up there in terms of their standing. He's averaging 20, 23, and 7. And I think the assists might be a career high. I'm not sure. Yeah, it is a career high. It's actually tied with 2012. So yeah, the assist is a career high. He's actually the all time leader in assists for that team. Um, so yeah, he's been playing incredible for that team. I just saw him play against the Heat last night. He hit some big shots. I saw him hit two. Him and Marcus all hit two clutch threes, but they were missing all game. But when it counted, they started knocking them down, which kind of annoyed me since I told you I'm a Heat fan. So I was watching that game, praying that they didn't knock those shots down, but they did. Thankfully, we won. But yeah, moving on next, I have Steven Adams. I think we can all universally agree that Steven Adams is pretty underrated. Um, he doesn't get the love. He's averaging 16, 10, and 2. I think the points per game might be a career high because he only averages 9 points for his career. So yeah, he's been playing amazing actually. Uh, yeah, I mean he's only 25 years old, so he's kind of young too. I respect him for not getting Plumlee to fall on his head. Uh, if you guys didn't know, against the Nuggets, he pump faked. He got Plumlee in the air. Plumlee fell on top of him. He was about to fall down, hit his head on the not concrete, hit his head on the
After
court.
he hit his head on the court,
And after he was about to hit his head on the court, Steven Adams stopped him from doing that. He was about to score, but he picked him up. So yeah, respect to him for that. He's also like, I think he was voted as the toughest player last year. So yeah, Steven Adams. He's definitely a top 5 underrated player in my book. Next, I have Josh Richardson of the Miami Heat. Now, before I get into Josh Richardson's underratedness, I want to clear up something that I've seen in very many online social media posts, everything, everywhere. A lot of people have been saying, well, not as much anymore. A lot of people have been saying that Kemba Walker is underrated. Now, Kemba Walker is a great NBA player. Don't get me wrong. He's definitely an all-star this year. He's a top 6. I think he's number 6 point guard. I would put him top 5, but his team success has been hindering him. But we all know how good Kemba Walker is. We all know that he's a baller. He's averaging 26 points per game. He's been playing amazing. He carries that Charlotte Hornets team every single game. His second leading scorer is averaging like 10 points. No, that's a bit of a stretch, but he's still carrying that team. Um, every night he goes hard, and he like there was a stretch in the season where he was dropping 30 every night. People were actually having him as his MVP pick, and I wouldn't blame them because for an MVP pick for like until that point of the season, and I wouldn't blame them because he was literally leading the league in points. He's kind of slipped, but everyone knows how good that man is, so he's not underrated. He's not underappreciated because we all know how good he is. He would be a top 5 point guard, but his team success has hindered him from being a top 5 point guard. And asked, when asked, he's always said, "Oh, I want to resign. I want to resign." That's one thing that I love. I love a loyal player, but like I kind of feel bad for him because for him, I want him to go to somewhere else where he can benefit for himself and his team can also win. One thing that he's lacked in his entire career is winning. He's made the playoffs like once, and they got beat by the Heat in 7. But I just want him to go somewhere where he can win games. And he's already like 29. I'm pretty sure. Actually, no, he's like 27. He's like 27 or 29. Let me look it up. He's 28, so right in the middle. He's 28 years old, and literally if he stays in Charlotte again, he's just gonna waste his prime there. It's gonna be too late for him to start to win a championship. He would be a Hall of Fame type player, but he wouldn't be at least a first ballot Hall of Famer because he hasn't had any winning. So I don't think anyone would vote him as a first ballot Hall of Famer because he hasn't won anything in his career. He has All-Star appearances, and he's a baller. Everyone knows that if this man has won championships, he would be above John Wall as a top 5 point guard, and that's kind of hard for me to say because I love John Wall too. But Kemba Walker has been playing amazing, out of his mind. John Wall has been struggling this season, and Kemba has better numbers than John Wall, but John Wall has made the playoffs more. I'm not saying John Wall has won a championship because he hasn't, but his team has been more successful than Kemba's. So he's made the playoffs. John Wall has made the playoffs like every year of his career. I think this year they're struggling. This year might be the first year that they don't make it. But yeah, I'm just frustrated. Kemba Walker should go to somewhere that's better for him, better for his team as well. His team needs to start clean house, rebuild everything. You guys have nice young talent with Malik Monk and Miles Bridges. So yeah, I just had to get that off my chest because I was seeing that everywhere, and it was kind of frustrating me because I couldn't really see how underrated someone could be if we're all acknowledging how good he is. And another thing that I don't even want to get into right now that I saw last year was people calling Damian Lillard underrated. For a moment of time, he was that was like 2 or 3 years ago. He wasn't underrated last year. Um, so yeah, like similar type of players. I want Damian Lillard to be traded as well because his team is just it's in a cycle of just making the playoffs and then not succeeding. I hate when teams are just middle of the pack every time, that they don't have a direction. But moving on to Josh Richardson. Speaking of teams that don't have a direction, the Miami Heat need to get it together. They either need to start tanking or they need to start winning. But yeah, Josh Richardson averaging 19 points per game. He is in candidacy for most improved player as he's averaging 6 or 7 more points than he did last year. I believe he averaged 11.5, so I'm pretty sure it's 7. No, he averaged 12.5, so it's 6 points, 6 more points per game exactly. And he's been the leading scorer of that team. He's also been a leader, defensive leader, offensive leader. Um, with I'm just frustrated with some people on the team like Whiteside who, uh, I mean, he hasn't been like part. He hasn't been there some of the time, but his effort sometimes has been a bit questionable. But yeah, number one underrated player. I'm going to say it's Nikola Vucevic. Oh, sorry, I shouldn't have said number one. People are gonna come at me now. Uh, my other underrated player is what I meant to say. He's not. He's not. This is no order. My fault. But yeah, he's the last underrated player on my list, and the Magic are over exceeding expectations. I live in Orlando, so it's actually been pretty good to see that they're actually going in a direction. I mean, obviously they're not going to win or anything, but it's good to see that they might make the playoffs, even though like the chances are like against them. But yeah, he's been playing really, really well, averaging close to I want to say Vucevic. He's averaging 21 points per game, 12 rebounds, and 4 assists, which is really good numbers for him. Leading that team in scoring. He's been a good mentor for Mo Bamba so far. I would like to see him traded, not because I don't like him, but because the Magic can have a direction of rebuilding. Even though they might make the playoffs, I know they're not going to win anything. But yeah, Vucevic is my number one. Not number one. Vucevic is my last underrated player. All right, guys, that's about it. Let me know as always if you have any disagreements, anything. I'll answer some of your questions. Leave a like as always. Support the channel. And y'all know how it rolls. This is Ball Hub signing off. Peace.